Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Strong by Design podcast. This is your host today, Coach Chris Wilson. And the conversation today is with somebody that you know, somebody that you have seen on YouTube, somebody that you have seen fired up on YouTube with neck veins popping. And this guy is as intelligent when it comes to muscle and strength and health and all the things we love here at Criticalbench, but he's also as passionate a guy as you ever heard or ever saw. And he is every bit the guy that you see on video. He is that man. He is living a living testament to doing things in my opinion, the right way when it comes to strength training, when it comes to living a healthier life, when it comes to doing things kind of in a natural way, which is kind of gotten so clouded and so overlooked in the world of health and muscle, because we're all drawn to the freaks. We're all drawn to the people that have kind of chosen a different route. But my guest today, Mr. Scott Herman with Scott Herman Fitness, is a guy that will make you laugh, get you fired up, and get you to get your ass in the gym and do things the right way. So welcome to the Strong by Design podcast, Scott. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Christopher. How's it going?
It's going pretty darn well. It's going great. And we were actually talking for some interesting conversation before I even hit record, which I wish I could just go back and hit record and use some of those sound bites.
I'm sure we'll talk about all of
I'm sure it'll all come up. I mean, I had just recently done another podcast talking about parenting, and then Scott's like, well, I got some tips for you. I got a 20-year-old daughter. I could help give you some parenting advice about that. So we were talking about all kinds of weird stuff before we even got going.
You know what's funny in that video? A lot of people think that my neck veins only pop out when I'm angry or I'm yelling, because you mentioned neck veins in the beginning. My neck veins just pop when I talk normal. They just start like popping out. I don't know why. I used to always use it to my advantage when I wrestled, like throughout middle school and high school. It was a nice like scare tactic.
Right.
There's been a few like brawls that never got as far as they should have because the neck veins came out and kind of like, kind of scared off the people that were trying to come at me, which was pretty good, So like they've been my go-to for a while. But I just posted a video on YouTube with my daughter Crystal talking about her dating escapades and like all the skeezy things that guys say to her and like text messages and stuff. But like the whole video, people were commenting like, "Oh, your neck veins are like popping out the whole time." But I was just talking casually like this. I mean, it was obviously a passionate conversation. I'm talking about my daughter and, guys trying to, hook up through text message and stuff. But I was, you guys can watch that video in your own time. It's kind of funny. It's like, yeah, the neck veins, they let you know when I'm passionate.
I love it, dude. I mean, I do like an eye bug thing. My eyes get real big, like kind of like I'm sure like yours get when you're around food. When I get excited about something, whatever the topic may be, my eyes get real buggy. And I've had people comment on that in videos and stuff. They're like, what's wrong with those guys' eyes? I'm like, well, it's just, I don't know. I get excited and the eyes get big, It's just, that's just what happens, We all have our things.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Everybody has their thing, the rock or the pebble, as we call him now. He does his eyebrow thing. I got my neck veins. You get your eyes popping out.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I love it. Hey, I love your decor too, by the way. So Scott gave me the nickel tour of his man cave. He showed me his collection of various items and stuff. So because this is going to be shared also on YouTube, Scott, can you give me like just a quick synopsis of what you got going on? You got glass cases behind you with some pretty incredible figures. Like, what's going on there?
Well, so when the wife and I moved, because we're in Florida now. I think the last time we spoke, I was back up in New Hampshire, or like, I say Boston because I'm like so close to Boston, and that's where I grew up, in that area. But anyways, we were living in New Hampshire, moved down to Florida, and I said to the wife, I said, okay, we can only move to Florida if I get to keep my man cave and I get to put the gym in the garage, which is all my videos. You see my gym's in one of the garages, and then my wife has like her women cave like down the hall over there. But in here, This is like Dragon Ball Z Central, okay? So what you see behind me are glass cases with all resin statues. Well, mostly resin statues. I got this huge statue up here, which is Goku and Frieza. It's actually from a game I play called Dokkan Battle. It's like one of the COD units. For those of you who play Dokkan Battle, it's the Tech Goku and Frieza position, the position that they actually went in the Broly movie. And then over here, so these statues, my wife actually got me started on those. The Goku right here, those are all Super Saiyan 5 figures, which doesn't really exist in canon. It was kind of like a fun offshoot that happened. But I got Vegeta, Goku, Broly, and Trunks in Super Saiyan 5. It's like a blue fur. It looks really cool. And then I'll angle the camera up, and I basically have like, these are all Dragon Ball Z pops. So I have every single Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super pop that's in the collection, including Planet Arlia Vegeta, which you can only get right now if you want to drop $3,000 to $4,000 on eBay. So I have them all. And then you can't see it, but over here in this closet, I'm like super into movies. So One of the first things I did when I moved in is I actually, ripped everything out of that closet and I custom built shelves for all my movies because I'm super OCD and they have to be in alphabetical order. So I have like all my anime in one section, all my regular movies in one section. They're like 600 Blu-rays or something. I support the movie industry. I try not to download too many things for free.
I love it, dude. Yeah, that's so in my wheelhouse because I'm the same way. I have my own OCD issues when it comes to an alphabetized thing, or if someone comes in my office. I was telling Scott, I have a nothing as elaborate as what he has, but I have a few bookshelves in my office, and one shelf has like some really old cool toys. I have like an old Chuck Norris doll. If you squeeze his legs, his arms move.
Oh, nice.
I have Sylvester. I have a Rocky Balboa. I got Mr. T. I got like a bunch of them, and
people come touching.
They're for looking, not for touching, and you think adults would understand this, but no. What happens? People walk in and it's right in their line of sight. They walk right over inevitably,
and just start
especially
touching.
if they're first-time guests in my office. They go right over and start squeezing, picking stuff up. And I'm like, okay, well, there's another 5 minutes out of my day because when they leave, I got to go back over there and make adjustments because, guns are falling out of hands. I got swords falling. I got people tipped over or moved sideways, or the arm's not like it's supposed to be anymore.
See, that's why you got to put them in the glass case, and then my pops are right up to the ceiling, so you ain't touching those.
Untouchable.
God forbid, like my nephew gets in here and I'm not watching him, and he starts opening up all my pops, and I have to kill him. Bury him in the backyard.
Hey, what happened to Gary? Oh no, he was.
He just wasn't working out.
It wasn't working out. He's in the backyard.
He's like you got somebody walking in your room with like Cheeto fingers, like the can't touch this commercials that are out now.
Yes.
Sorry, can't help you. I got Cheetos, but like playing with Chuck Norris doll.
I love it, man.
And then with the movie collection, I got really big into movies because I just really hated going to like a friend's house or a family member's house, or like, you sleepovers with your cousins or whatever. And like, they have like 3 movies that you don't want to watch. So I think I was like scarred for life as a kid. I'm like, I never want to have people come over and not have cool movies and things to watch.
No doubt. I have a really terrible movie story, and it's a very quick story, so I'll tell it right now. I was having trouble falling asleep at a friend's house, probably about 9 or 10 years old, and I was crying. It's like at that age, you're scared, it's late, you just want to go home kind of moments. And the mom comes out and she puts on Grease 2. Man. Not the first Grease, the second Grease, right? This is like 1984, 1985, I'm like 9 or 10. And that's the movie that made me feel better. And then I fell asleep and had a good night's sleep. But it goes to show you that even an awful movie has the ability sometimes to calm your nerves and make you feel better. So
oh yeah, some of my favorite movies are like one of my favorite movies is The Pest from like 1992 or something.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
John Leguizamo just acting like insane the whole time.
And that's what you can become known for, where you can become an authority on a certain topic too. Once you start, if people, you go, oh, they really like this video, and then you make another one similar in that same genre, and then that does well too. And you're like, yeah, I guess I got to kind of go in this direction. Were you feeling that sometimes where you're like, I should probably just keep making more of this stuff because this is doing real well?
Well, yeah, and it's tough too at the same time because sometimes people just don't want to hear the truth. Like I've made a couple of videos now on TRT, basically being the new steroids, and people I called out a few people that have been doing TRT, and they're like, well, they claim they're doing it because they just want to be in their normal range of testosterone, and it's like no, it doesn't make sense because they're not going to the doctor and getting prescribed testosterone to stay like average, which is like 400 to 600, right? They're going to these clinics and they're taking TRT and they're keeping their testosterone at the upper end, and it stays there all the time. You obviously know that your testosterone levels, they go up and down throughout the day.
Right.
These guys are on TRT to the point to where they're keeping it like 800, 900 all day, every day. And it's like, no, that's not natural. And they talk about how it's safe and legal. And so now it's this big joke where other YouTubers are calling it out too, where it's the new chicken, rice, and broccoli, It's like and then people are calling me a hater. They're like, oh, you're just jealous because, you don't look as good as that person. I'm like, first of all, I look better. But second of all, it has nothing to do with jealousy. It has everything to do with young guys watching videos of people who they like. And these are like a lot of these guys, they do vlogging too. So it's like you see their lifestyle. They always have their girlfriend's tits and ass in every single video, try to make you want their life. And they make everything look so epic and cool. And then they drop I'm on TRT, makes my quality of life so much better. It's safe and legal. It's like, okay. You want to run the risk of being sterile and not having kids when you're 23, then, have fun. And they get pissed, not everybody obviously, but it's funny when you read the comments, you can tell how old they are just based on what they're saying.
Yes.
So like the older demographic is totally in line with my thought process. And then the younger kids are like, you're just a hater, or it's still whatever. It's at least he's being honest about his TRT. It's like, he's only telling you because he feels he has to, because you're going to see him make gains and he's going to have to explain them. And it's like, dude, just say you want to do a cycle of steroids and that's why you're doing a TRT clinic and not going to your local doctor. But like sometimes these topics, I get so passionate about it that like the neck veins really pop out and I get super angry. It's just the Boston comes out, and I have to be careful because when I get like that, maybe I don't get all of my points across in that video. So it can come across as me just being a raging asshole, which, sometimes I am, but it's coming from a good place. And it's just coming from a place of, YouTube has changed so much. It's become such a toxic and vile place, especially with fitness, because now that it's being so saturated, everybody obviously wants followers. Everybody's trying to do the next crazy thing to gain more attention. The coolest thing to do now is to take PEDs, HRT or whatever, and then just claim you're being honest. And then everyone thinks you're like a god because you're being honest about you're taking steroids or something, which doesn't make sense to me. It's like, hey, I wanted to work a little harder, so I'm just going to do Coke every day. But now that I'm honest about it, I'm your hero, right?
Right. That makes it okay because I owned up to it.
Yeah, I owned up to it. I just, every hour or so, and I'm able to get a lot of work done. But I was honest, so now it's okay to do that. So you have to find that. You really have to figure out how to talk to your audience, especially when your audience is many different age ranges. So like, for example, with my daughter's 20 years old. Even with her, we'll have conversations sometimes about different things. And I have a very formed opinions on very specific things where she also has an opinion, but she has zero life experience in. And we butt heads, and she'll be like, why don't you care about my opinion? I'm like, because your opinion is based on nothing other than your opinion. Like, you don't know, you haven't experienced life to have an opinion, but you still want me to hear it. Yeah, and that's kind of like how a lot of this young generation is, which we're all like that when we're kids. We think we know everything. So you got to figure out, like, how can I come across knowledgeable, passionate, but not as like a hating or a jerk, you know? And so on topics like this, where it looks like a lot of young people are being misled, you know, in the TRT thing, I'm trying to go about it a few different ways. Like, I recently made a video. My editor's actually been editing it today with another YouTube channel. This guy, his name is Derek. It's called More Plates, More Dates. Probably one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever talked to in my entire life on like PEDs and steroids and what you take, what you don't take. He's, you know, he competed and he's huge. And the tone of that video was very different. We just casually talked about it. And then I was basically, you know, positioning my questions to him to get more information about like what happens, you know, as soon as you jump on TRT, what happens if you want to have kids, you know, what are your testosterone levels really low if they're this point? What about free testosterone? So we kind of get into like the nitty gritty of that. And then hopefully, you know, the younger audience that's listening to it will, you know, make better informed decisions. And another thing we talked about too, I'm like, you know, is it really worth putting something in your body in your teens and early 20s where you know that most guys, like probably 80-90% of guys, they might still lift when they're in their late 20s, early 30s, but the majority of them are going to be flyby, you know, I'll go to the gym when I can because I have a job and a family. Do you know what I mean? So is it worth getting all these possible health issues just to have like a little bit more ripped abs at the beach when you could easily do that by working harder in the gym? That was really long-winded, but you kind of get what I'm saying.
I totally get what you're saying. You know, people want the magic pill effect in so many areas of their life. You know, the least amount of work with the maximum amount of result. And so I think that's what's made this become such like a hot, trendy thing. Is like you said, it's laughable that people in their 20s are like using TRT. It doesn't even, you don't even max out with testosterone naturally until you're like in your early 30s in terms of like where you're probably going to peak.
Yeah. And just, you know, for the listeners that are listening to this, you can need TRT at any age. Like,
sure.
There are people who need it in their teens, but it's because they literally can't function.
Correct.
It's not because they wake up tired sometimes because they party and drink too much and eat like shit. Right? You know, so there are, let's be very clear. You can need TRT at any age, but when you already have normal levels,
correct,
and then you claim you want to be on the higher end of normal,
right,
you're full of shit and you just want to do steroids. Like it's like, and the funny thing is these people are being praised for being honest and they're not even being really honest at all. Like, they're still doing a scapegoat kind of like bullshit excuse as to why they're doing it. But, you know, so, you know, me too, I'm going to be 36 this year. And I try to like jump on these topics because I'm like, you guys, I'm 36 years old. I don't have any health complications. I still look great. I'm still ripped. I still train probably harder than most of you guys do. But it's because I built these habits. And that's the message I want to get, you know, to my younger audience. Like, you guys need to build these habits. You need to know what it feels like what it really feels like to have an intense workout. And I actually do online coaching. I have actually clients all over the world, which sucks sometimes because when like it's morning for me and night for them or vice versa, I'm like, all right, it's 11 o'clock at night. Let's go over your workout. But I love it, you know, and I like to help people who reach out to me. So, but I tell you what, one of the things I notice the most when I train my clients is they do not really know what intensity is until I show them and I put them on a workout. So a lot of times what we'll do is, because I have my gym in my house, I can go over like proper form on every exercise and on video chat, right? And then I'll have them record a set for me at the gym, and then they bring it in, and like, let's say they're doing a bicep curl. And I'm like, dude, you could probably curl that weight, 30 times, and I'm having you do it 10 times. So you need to boost that weight up. Like, oh, my arms are sore. Well, they're supposed to be sore. Let's boost the weight. Let's get some, let's see some like strain in your face when you're lifting, and these are the people that wonder why they don't see any results, but it's just because they haven't been coached to know that like certain pain is okay to push through, like that burning sensation.